I invoke the that will send Haru, the great angel that is set over the operations of this great wisdom, to lay his hand invisibly on these consecrated cards of art, that thereby we may obtain true knowledge of hidden things, to the glory of thine ineffable name. Amen. This doesn't normally happen, that one falls out like that, so I'm going to set this to the side, and we're going to look at it at the end. I don't normally have that happen, and so let's just check out what that supplementary message will be at the end. Now, one moment. Let me just retrieve my booklet. I believe it's in one of these. Excuse me, you guys. I don't normally do something like this on camera. My booklet is in one of these. Okay. Let's get all this back. Wait, what? Bear with me now. Bear with me. Normally, I have everything ready. I'm on the road. I'm in a hotel in Boston right now. And I'm going to the airport in a little bit to catch a bus to Maine, see my sister. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all, anyone who is here. Card 1 represents the querent and the nature of the problem and primary influences. Cool. You got the 3 of Wands. That's wonderful. What a wonderful thing. You are connected to your sense of freedom when it comes to your determination. And so, therefore, it's kind of like I'm going to do this thing and I don't give a damn what people say. I don't give a damn what people think, because I know that this is what I want to do. This is the kind of energy that comes with the 3 of Wands. It's about one really knowing that because they're invested in what their pursuit is, that it's worth it to them. And it's worth it to them because they find value in it. This is about value. It's about you embodying your values to such a degree that things, I wonder if that's happening on the screen for you guys. That screen glitch. Maybe it's just me. I'm so sorry about that. If that continues, I deeply apologize. I'm going to try to get through this reading pretty quickly anyways. But back to the card. It's about following your values, and it represents your ability to pursue your values in a way that exudes value to others. It's the Sun in Aries.
Cards 2 and 3 in conjunction with card 1 are the key cards describing the nature of the situation and the personality of the querent. The Chariot and the Prince of Swords here. Give me a moment. You're leading with feeling combined with intellect in a way. There's a good harmony of elements here. Waters, air, and fire. There's this card always gives the advice I give for it is that what you can often argue a position intellectually, but you're not actually emotionally invested in it. And I combine with the Chariot, which is all about feeling on a deep intuitive level, feeling the call, right? Feeling the call in one's heart. But he's also the taskmaster. I mean, he's getting it done. The Prince of Swords has got so many different ideas. Feels like what I would give in summation for this is that you're following your values. You're bringing your ideas on the road. And you're bringing your ideas on the road. And by that, I mean, let's say you have a job, your passion. You think about what your next song is going to be while you're in the kitchen cooking at the job, or you're thinking about what your next painting is going to be while you're doing your other job or whatever it is, kind of thing. You're bringing your ideas on the road with you. You're constantly building on. With the Prince of Swords here, this would reveal to me that you're always regenerating more identity and ideas about yourself and about your plans and about your stuff, and you're bringing that on the road in a way, meaning like it's a deep, combined with this Chariot, it's a deep, something very deep within you doing this, whether you maybe even realize it or not, but you're it doesn't feel like you're at the stage of like having a bunch of different creations in front of you. This feels like you're at the stage, if I would say, to give a metaphor, where you're starting a new series and you're planning it out you're planning it out for the future, and you can see the direction that it's going to go in because you're pursuing it very givingly. And when you do that, you know that it's gonna blossom. So let's go on to the next rows. Cards 13, 9, 5, 4, and 12 in the upper left and upper right indicate two potentials for the future. They may complement each other, in which case the cards on the upper left are a development of the cards on the upper right. If they're in conflict, the cards on the upper right may be considered the direction the querent's life will naturally flow unless action is taken to change the course. The cards on the upper left would then be possibilities of an alternative action. So I'm going to start with the whole row this time. Instead of doing it piece by piece, we're just going to start with the whole row. Well, what I'm getting here is really, really beautiful. This is wonderful. This is so nice. Over here you have the Queen of Cups, the Hermit, and the Fool. These cards definitely, I would say that they complement each other in a way. The two top rows, I would say that they complement each other. What can I say about this right here in my hand? And I knew with the tigers, you see the tigers on my necklace here? With the tigers, the Fool, his new year, it's the Lunar New Year, and it's like a new start, and the tiger is there. It's just something I noticed the other day. I was like, isn't there a tiger on the Fool card? And I was like, no, I don't think there is. And then I went, well, why would you think there was if there wasn't? And yep, there's a tiger. There he is. I knew it. So The Queen of Cups really has a tendency to absorb the energy of the environment around her. And whether that be consciously or not, she just does this. So if there are people around the Queen of Cups who are kind of going through certain things that are not healthy for them, then the Queen of Cups will think that that is normal in her waters. She kind of absorbs the energy of that. And so with the Fool here, there's a brand new start. It's a new point. It's a neutral point. It's important to have a beginner's mind. It really is. With the Hermit, though, the Hermit was in the middle. It was like this. I rarely get this card, and it's my favorite card. So I'm really happy to see it. There's something about you being alone intentionally, because you know that you have a tendency to absorb your environment. So there's a great power in you being alone, because you need the newness. With the Fool here, he reveals promise, but he reveals promise through different experiences that come to you at different times. Kind of, when you're on a new start, you set the intention, and it doesn't happen right away, if you know what I mean. And so that's why these three seem to be coming together, is because you're coming to an understanding now of the way that process takes shape, and how other influences, if you're not in hermit mode, let's say, other influences, they're going to shape you, and they're going to make you like for the Queen of Cups, the poetry that she writes, by looking at the pool of waters here. She looks into the waters, and there's poetry that she writes from it. And that is something that is so sacred to you that you don't want anyone around. And so with this journey, it's kind of telling me too that you need people around. And with the Hermit, that's the advice too. It's like you need people around. You need people. So don't forget that. I know that you're going through stuff. So that's what I'm saying. There could be a person who you may be going to go see, who is a very good influence on you, and someone who you would like to be around. Do you see what I'm saying? So don't just leave yourself alone all the time. But the influences that are there, they need to be people who are like you, who are connected directly to the source. There's also a great worry being settled. And this is deep within. There's some kind of worry that's being addressed deep within. The priestess is connected to the source. So if this is coming up in pieces here, there's a settling of the mind about some type of material matter. And it's felt deeply. If there isn't, there needs to be, because this energy can succeed the best when this is. Imagine if this takes the full force, what the Queen of Cups is going to happen to her, the way she'll absorb that energy. Imagine, or in isolation, also as the Hermit, and with a new start, not knowing how it's going to turn out. We have to allow there to be peace, or else our new start is going to be, for lack of a better term, impure. Having a new start is important. So make sure you keep it clear to yourself what your boundaries are, and stay true to the things that alleviate your worries, and the things that are actually good for you. For instance, I went to the gym this morning at this hotel, and then I think I cried on the way up the elevator, because I was I was talking to myself, and I said, oh, wow, that felt so good, and I really enjoyed doing that. And then, I said to myself, if I have ADHD and some executive functioning issues, and autistic and things like that, so it can be really hard for me to transition between tasks that even I enjoy. And so I was in the elevator thinking, oh man, I really enjoyed that exercise routine. And I said to myself, I said, I know you don't like to do things, like I know you didn't want to do it, right? Like, and I started crying a little bit because I was just kind of, pepping myself up. I said, I know you did not want to do that, even though you wanted to do that, right? I know you didn't feel like doing that, I think is the exact words that I used. I said, I know you didn't feel like doing that, but wasn't that so good? Didn't that feel so good? And I was like, yeah. And I thought about that in relation to my paintings. I thought about that in relation to a lot of things in my life. And it's true. It's like, I know you don't feel like doing it, but you have to, when you get doing it, it feels so good. Then you want to do it. And so I will address this here, the sorrow of not feeling like doing the things that we want to do. And I think that's what it actually was that made me cry, was this feeling of sorrow of like, oh, isn't this such a burden to feel like so trapped at times where I don't feel like doing the things that I actually enjoy. And it really, yeah, this is kind of what I'm talking about here. The Prince of Cups has a tendency to become melancholy about things. So we have to honor that. And this is really, really, really wild here. You got the moon and the sun right next to each other, and the Prince of Cups. And that's maybe what I can say about this. That's coming to me now. It's kind of coming to me. It's just the expression of someone being like, gosh, the extremes of life are so much that I feel sometimes that because he's very much like the Queen of Cups. Remember, they're all looking into this pool of water and kind of like their heart is reflecting every single cup court card. Their heart is reflecting those waters below. So the quality of these waters are very important. And the quality of the waters could be connected to this worry, right? Gosh, the ups and downs, the hots and the colds are so different. And I feel them so intensely. And it is sometimes overwhelming to me. The differences in things, the differences in sensation, the extremes, the varieties, the different forms, the different circumstances. They can be overwhelming, and that needs to be addressed with peace and the new start. The moon and the sun don't do anything new. They do the same thing they've always done. So that's another thing I'm getting from this, is to look at it that way is to be in a place of cruelty with the whole situation. To look at it that way. It is very important to understand that they do change subtly over time, but the reason why we know what they are is because they're ancient gods. These are ancient gods. So they don't change. That's why they're gods, because they're archetypes. They don't change, even though they do change, even though it's hot, cold, hot, cold. Oh my goodness. One thing you can understand about them is that, what is that line from Tom Sawyer Rush? And those changes aren't permanent, but change is permanent. Right? Changes are not permanent, but change itself is permanent. So there's your tether point. There's your way back in to yourself. Okay? Because you have to know that changes are not permanent, but changes. And to also, yes, see with a more luxurious viewpoint This is funny. You have a good amount of quartz here. There could be a lot of people who you have kind of like in your mind right now. There could be, even though you're in a hermit mode, that there are so many quartz on the table could reveal that there are a few people who you want to be closer to. It feels like a time of, this feels on the table like a time of reseeding, like the roots kind of, the roots awakening again, in order to realize that it's time for them to push forward into the earth. They're not moving yet, but they're awakening something deep in them. The rhizome, right? The rhizome is awakening here on the table, especially with this kind of moon and sun thing together. That's like the rhizome. It's a beautiful, to me, kind of metaphor for that in a way, because the rhizome is a thing that will stay alive through the season of cold, but then in the spring, it's the heart of a plant. It's the heart of a plant, really. And so it's a good example to use to kind of explain the heart and the essence of the energy of how people have to do things too, because we're connected to our plant brothers and sisters. So, or they them. Some of them homies is they thems too. I think, like, they've got, yeah, a lot of plants are they them. Technically all plants are they thems, because there's they can be either or. So everybody's a they them anyway. So like low key, everybody is a they them. We just kind of choose. I've always kind of thought that we just kind of choose which thing we'd like to be. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you are a loving, kind person. So this this is the best thing. I always say luxury is the best counter for a lot of things. The luxury is the best counter for many, many things. So this, all the doubt, fear, insecurity, burdensome type of feeling can go by the wayside, because you're in a place of luxury at this time. And you know that. You're emotionally luxurious. You have love in such a way that everyone around you feels different when they're around you. And you're just a princess now. Imagine what that will be when you're the queen of earth. When you're the knight of earth, right? Not to say that she isn't equal to them. She is. But she represents the earth of earth. So she's very mutable about this luxury. It's almost like not even known to herself that people feel this way around her. It's a quiet emotional luxury that you need to protect from yourself. You need to protect yourself from yourself in that way, because that sense of emotional luxury won't last if you beat yourself up in your head. So that's what's coming to me now, is that you're in a place right now where it's good, but when you get in a place where you're in too much solitude and you may feel stressed or worried, then the emotional luxury totally dies out, and you don't have that around you anymore. And then what I'm also getting is that that's a very core part of what makes you feel valued. That's what makes you feel happy, is that people can see that you have that low key, whether you realize it or not. What makes you happy is the fact that people do feel different around you, and you can tell that, and you know it. It's not like a thing that they had to explain to you. You can just feel it, right? So you can also feel the negative. You can also feel the doubt and the fear and the self-criticism and the cruelty as well. So don't turn the swords in on yourself. Okay? Just don't. That needs to stop. You need to monitor your thoughts. So if you find yourself complaining, lately I've been complaining a lot, y'all. I've been complaining way too much, and it's kind of making me feel ill. I'm not kidding. I'm being real honest with y'all on my channel. If you find yourself complaining, you better stop and shut your mouth and start writing in your notebook or find something else to do. Because your speech, your words, your tongue, your thoughts and your tongue are spells. And you need to be careful what you release out of your mouth, because you're speaking to the spirits every time you let language come out of your mouth. You're speaking to your psychology, your psychosomatic. You're speaking to all of that. The body can't really tell the difference between a sensation physically and the sound of language. It's kind of the same thing. We process that shit the same way. So you need to be careful, because when it's a space of luxury, it's the forest is lush and it's the seeds, the rhizomes are awakening. But if it's a place of cruelty, then all of this blocks out the sun and messes up the weather. You see how cloudy it is back there? It's just a array of clouds behind the bleeding swords. It's bleeding swords in front of a dark, cloudy sky. The clouds will come and cover up this like a shadow, like this. And you won't be able to understand that changes aren't permanent, but change is. Because you will be driving the swords into the earth and into yourself to try to hang on too hard to the earth, okay? You have to let go every day. Well, I had a wonderful time doing this. Thank you all for being here. Let's see what our little mystery card thing is. Oh, no way. Yeah. Oh, that's so special, y'all. That's really, really special. Love is a virtue. Right here. Love is a virtue. You know that saying? Crowley would say a quote. I actually have it written right here. Right here. Love is a virtue. It grows stronger and purer and less selfish by applying it to what it loathes. Do you remember what I was talking about when I said I had a moment with myself in the elevator when I said, I know you didn't feel like doing that, but you did, and you loved the way it felt to go work out. You actually really liked the way that felt. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Love is a virtue. It grows stronger, pure, and less selfish by applying it to what it loathes. People really understood that. We could all be magic makers. We really could. I think we all are. We're just trying to figure it out. All right, y'all. I want to thank you all for being here. Also want to invite you to check out my Etsy shop, Divine Portrayal. If you get a chance, I would really, really appreciate that. I'm trying to get you a better view here. The light has been kind of funny, and also the computer screen was acting up a bit. I don't know if that's going to come through on y'all's end, but it was coming through on mine. I make these Thoth talismans infused with the bromelain oil and mugwort. And here's another example of some of my creations. If you would like to check out the ones that I have available, I only have the Thoth talismans available on the Etsy, but you can request a custom Thoth talisman, or you can DM me on Instagram or send me an email and request something from me. This is a Nuit pendant that I'm going to give to my sister when I see her. I know you can't see it very well, but there's Nuit and a little baby, technically a baby Rahorkuit there. But it's just the sun. Yeah, it's the sun, and it's the space holding the sun, which is her baby. and it's beautiful. It's got embellished with rhinestones. All my work is embellished with rhinestones and usually glitter. Okay, you guys, I want to say a quick prayer before we leave. Spirit that stood over the operations of this great wisdom, you may leave or you may stay, depending on what it is that you would like to do. Thank you for being here with us on the channel. Thank you all for being here with me on the channel. And I hope everybody has a wonderful new year and enjoy all of the different holidays and festivities. There's Mahashivratri's going on. There's a lot of different amazing things that are happening right now. So there's plenty of opportunities to tap into the divine and go all the way. This is the time. This is it. This is the longest. This is the night of the year that you should stay awake all night and do prayers and rituals. If you are of the Hindu faiths or involved or a student or passionate about those things in any way, I recommend you learn about that. And you don't have to do it by the book, of course, if you're not initiated, you don't have an actual teacher, but you don't want to do things that are not safe as well. So use your intuition and educate yourself and find a way to practice that is intuitive to you, but also respectful of the culture and of other people. And enjoy yourself. Okay, everybody, I will see y'all when I'm in Maine. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you so much. Bye.